I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.
And
This just in, the Texas attorney with dozens of civil lawsuits on behalf of John and Jane Doe's allegedly victimized by the music mogul has a new target in his sights. NFL legend Shannon Sharpe. A brand new lawsuit was just filed in Nevada claiming Sharpe was manipulative and abusive and eventually sexually assaulted a Jane Doe. The latest claims allegedly happening as recently as January. We got our hands on the filing, and we're going to break down everything you need to know. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Tony Buzbee's back. The lawyer who went after Sean Combs, Jay-Z, we'll talk about that. Well, he is still swinging at high-profile men that he claims are abusers. This time, he's calling out Shannon Sharpe, the 56-year-old NFL superstar turned podcaster and commentator. Brand new lawsuit filed against Shannon Sharpe. We got a copy of it right here. It was filed out in Nevada. We're going to go over it. But Shannon Sharpe, because you don't know who he is, he played 14 seasons in the NFL, the Broncos, the Baltimore Ravens. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2011. After he retired, he spent time as a sports commentator and analyst. You might remember that he co-hosted Skip and Shannon Undisputed with Skip Bayless from 2016 to 2023. Bayless is that employer, by the way.
Okay, that's a we're gonna pause on the Skip Bayless part. Let me give you a slight insight about Shannon Sharpe. He was in the NFL, so he understands women. He understands what it is to be targeted by women, and he's going to survive these frivolous. It's multiple. He's going to survive these frivolous lawsuits. He's going to survive these frivolous claims. For one thing, none of them are criminal because there was no crime. See, we're living in a day and age that men in the United States have to understand who and where we are. Now, the smartest thing he did was he records all of his sexual encounters. For two, he also likes to talk on the phone. He is an older man, so everything he does sexually and everything that he talks about is going to sound creepy, no matter what it is. Any foreplay, any sex talk is going to sound creepy and horrible. But you got to understand, men and women today are not going to live by societal standards. To be honest with you, a lot of people like to do role playing. A domination, submission dynamic between men and women is the norm now. I found this out recently. I had a woman that told me she wanted me to dominate her. She wanted to wear a dog collar. She wanted to use handcuffs. She wants me to tell her what to do and yell at her. And I'm just not into that. Just because I spent so many years of my life running away from situations like that so I would not end up being sued or being accused. I avoid any kind of women that like anything too extraneous because they can always pretend that it wasn't consensual or you were a victim. And people say, well, you know what, Rico, you should have just got married. Little do you know, marriage is not the end-all solution. Marriage is actually an added hurdle, but your wife can accuse you of SA. Your fiance can accuse you of SA, no matter how many years you've been together. If you look at what Buzbee said, she can say yes 99.999% of the time. But if one particular moment of one thing she doesn't, then that means that, you know, these people are ridiculous. They'll say anything to rob men of money. They'll say anything to embarrass you in the public. The key is you cannot be afraid to put yourself out there. Now, rumor is Shannon Sharpe offered this woman $10 million to go away. But you got to think about it. He's a retired football player. Did you ever think that he thought he would blow up because of a Cat Williams interview on Club Shay Shay? Think about it. Who in their right mind would ever consider watching something called Shay Shay? The rumor a year ago today was that Shay Shay was gay. He's hopping out of trucks wearing tight green jumpers and he's walking pigeon-toed. There's an obviously young gay man that goes with him to all of his games like they're on a date. There's no women around. Then he puts out the sex tape video, the fake one, whatever, where it's audio, so he can show people that he's not actually gay. He's actually a man of all men and whatever. So nobody believes that he did anything wrong to this person. Apparently, this person was an ex-girlfriend. This is what the topic of today's subject is going to be. There's 3 ways that you're going to go about living as a man in the United States going forward. Women are going to be extracting resources from you to survive. The way it works is men work for the things we want. Women manipulate men for the things that they want. Women are not interested in going out and working and building up and taking care of themselves. So if a woman cannot sucker you into signing a contract with you so that she can sue you in a few years, the contract being called marriage, and if she can't finesse you into accidentally getting her pregnant so that she can extort you with child support money to cover her lifestyle plus the child and her personal trainer, then they have no other choice. If they don't have a kid by you and they're not married to you and you have money and you want to break up, they don't have a choice except to accuse you of either SA or DA, DV. So domestic violence or sexual assault. Women don't have a choice. Those are their 2 options. These women, Shannon Sharpe was very smart. These women can't really, for one thing, they don't have a leg to stand on. He does what Rico does. He likes to record. I record everything. I've had times where women come to my house and they say, we know who you are. You used to date my sister. I'm like, yeah, I did. I probably still do date your sister. And here you are. You're at my house hanging out. She say, yeah, I don't want to be on video. And I was like, well, then you don't want to be at my house. You get the fuck out. There's literally 10 other women here. We're all hanging out and partying. You know, buy. I don't do NDAs because I'm usually too drunk. And also I think that somebody can just pretend that the NDA was signed under duress. But when I'm drunk as hell, laying there like a dead body, and they're fighting all over me and it's really hard to say Rico did anything besides just lay there. And that's what I do. So you have to record everything, or somebody will think you're some kind of vicious animal, and they will try you if they think that you have money or you have something they don't have. Remember, these women are poor. They might claim to be graduates of college and they have a business doing eyelashes, and they make their own line of barrettes, or I don't know. These women lie about everything. At the end of the day, they sell sex on OnlyFans and any other way they can, and they're trying to find men who have money so they can find a way to extract that resources from them by accusing them of something. That's why the key, and this is where these celebrities mess up, where I've done well. You're never supposed to be alone with these women because it's just your word versus her word. Why are you alone? You're a man, you're a millionaire. You should have a girlfriend who's with you all the time as your witness. And if she doesn't like other women being around, she wants it to be just you and her, send her home. You cannot trust these women. These women, you can take her out for a beautiful seafood dinner. You guys can come back to your yacht. You can fly her to Paris. Then you can parasail back to the United States. And then you can give her a hug and a kiss on the cheek and say, good night, good night. And she'll turn around, walk out of your house, and your home exterior security cameras will capture her falling on the ground, crying. You just took her around the world, treated her like a queen. Now she's crying in front of your house. What do? It's literally your word versus her word. And these men are so foolish. And sometimes the really dumb ones, they want to argue with me about what's going on. Luckily, like I said, he has receipts. A lot of these men don't. Chris Brown didn't. Kobe Bryant didn't have no receipts. He didn't make a video. He should have, to prove that this was consensual. She was with it. It was her idea, X, Y, Z, but he didn't. So Shannon Sharpe is completely innocent of all of these charges. You know, it's like I said, who would have thought a man named Shay Shay would be offered $100 million? Those are Joe Rogan type numbers when he went to Spotify. So, I mean, Cat Williams really put him on the map. No one ever saw this coming. Now, every woman that's ever met this man is doing what women do, which is accusing him of impropriety. Oh, he was stalking me in the gym. It's a public gym. If he was scaring you, Go tell security. I'm sure it wasn't midnight after gym hours and he was just chasing you around the gym and, you know, threatening to hurt you. That's not what was happening. That's a lie. But at least be honest, be genuine. Don't accuse a man of something that isn't true just so you can get money. But that's what's been happening. But listen to how these other guys describe what's happening.
Fox Sports, they face their own accusations of sexual misconduct in a separate filing from earlier this year.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, that's why I said women should not be working. I wouldn't hire women to work at ESPN, Fox Sports, or anything to do with sports. Women, not one thing, they're not only a distraction, but they are a liability because they can at any time accuse you of anything and ruin the careers and the names of these men. So it really should be separated. A lot of things are going to have to be separated. All this forced integration of men and women, of people of different culture, it doesn't work. It's a setup from the beginning. So just remember I said that.
Covered it here on Sidebar as well. Now, Sharpe is part of the sports podcast space. He hosts 2 shows, Club Shay Shay and Nightcap. In fact, remember his interview with comedian Cat Williams in January 2024 on Club Shay Shay? That helped spark, I should say, a renewed interest in Sean Diddy Combs and his alleged bad behavior at his infamous parties. Got a lot of people talking.
Now, I'd have to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity. I was down. Because he didn't want the money. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no.
That interview right there was groundbreaking, and everything Cat Williams said came true. Shannon Sharpe was a professional football player. That interview he did with Cat Williams, he made more money off of that one interview than he did his entire football career in the NFL. You guys understand, NFL players don't make what NBA players make. And Shannon Sharpe's from a different generation. It wasn't a lot of sponsors like that. I mean, if he's 60-something years old, then, I mean, he was in the NFL probably when I was born or something. So you got to keep that in mind. He's what we call new money. But he's going to have to adjust because the only thing money is good for is women. Men are starting to figure that out, and they're starting to understand that getting married is a trap, and it doesn't make any sense because no matter how much love you have for one woman's beauty, you never lose your taste for other women. But you want kids. You don't want your kids in a broken home because a lot of these men, especially if they're black, they came from a broken home. So they try to overcompensate and overcorrect. And this is not the economy. This is not the country. This is not the culture to do so. Men are going to have to walk away from these situations. But even when you do, they're going to chase you down. You just have to be prepared for it. So you're going to hear that. And they even try to spin this around, like the things he did, like recording conversations, keeping his text messages, recording them having sex. They try to make that seem like that's a bad thing because these are lawyers. They want you in trouble. Does a doctor want you in good health or bad health? Okay. Does a lawyer want you in trouble or out of trouble? Okay. The worst advice a lawyer can give you is going to put you in a situation where you're going to need the lawyer. Take advice from somebody like myself. Record everything. You'd rather women hate you because you record having sex with women, even if they don't know, than you would if there's no video of a woman and she accuses you of SA. You're better off with a tape that she said you secretly. You're better off having a reputation for doing that than you do of sexual schmalt on women who are passed out. You know, they try to paint everybody as like these horrible demons. Oh, he grabbed me. He's such a big. These are women who like big, strong men. But now you're pretending that you're scared of big, strong. Why didn't you go to the set of It's Always Sunny? Go smash Danny DeVito. Go smash some other small little Asian guy. No, you're literally seeking out big, strong pro athletes, big, strong black men, big, strong white men. And now you want to talk about how they're so intimidating. And these women love that. See, women have agency now. We're in the age of equality. Men and women are equals. Women are not damsels in distress. Women can work. Women can vote. Women have the right to choose. Women can choose to take their asses home. Women can choose to buy their own drinks. Women can buy their own food. Women can work. Women can go to school. So this whole system where we pretend women are always victims has to go away, and not even go away. It has to be updated. Right now, legally, we're living in the 1930s. We need to bring it up at least until the 2020s. Even if we don't bring it to 2025, bring it to 2010, and I'll be happy.
Now it's Shannon Sharpe who's in the spotlight for his own accusations of abuse. Because on Monday morning, Texas attorney Tony Buzbee announced on his Instagram that he filed a $50 million lawsuit in Nevada court against Sharpe.
Now, this is the disgraced Tony Buzbee that just had his nice, polished, Caucasian ass smacked by the lips of Jay-Z. No pun intended, because he also brought up a devastating allegations against Sean Carter, which is the rapper known as Jay-Z. He also is the one who started the hotline for anybody who said that they ever had a sexual assault or was touched, men and women, by Sean P. Diddy Combs. And he wanted people to call in. He said he had hundreds of valid people that said things like, I was on the elevator and Puffy just whooped it out on me, made me touch it and kiss it. Then I got off the elevator, didn't tell nobody, and went on with my day. I'm like, well, then why are they telling you over the phone, Mr. Buzbee? Why are they calling you? People don't understand, when you're dealing with a celebrity. I'm not even a celebrity. I had a small internet show for a while and yada, yada. Even I had stalkers. Even I have fanatics. I've had people that were telling me, yeah, we've been in a relationship for 5 years. And I'm like, lady, you live in Alaska. I've never met you until today. She's like, yeah, it was in my head. A lot of these people live in their own minds. So they develop these relationships and they develop intricate conversations with you that you've never had with them. They write letters to you that they never mail, and people find those letters and they think, oh my God, she knows this person. These people are mentally ill. We have a huge mental illness crisis going on in the United States that no one wants to talk about. So this woman imagined being 13 years old. She said that someone drove 5 hours to take her to an award show in New York as a child. And she's just walking around the parking lot, and a driver of a black limousine was like, hey, you know who would like you, little kid? Jay-Z and Puffy. And apparently put this little child in their SUV, and the child jumped in with no hesitation, no questions asked, went to a party, was mingling with celebrities, made it through security. Now, this isn't like 2000. This isn't in like the 60s or the 50s. This isn't like some Playboy bunny and, she's underage using her sister's ID. No, this is just a regular child, not dressed nice or anything, just wandering around, gets recruited by a limousine driver, allegedly, taken to a house, and then given a drink, felt woozy, ended up in a room, and then magically 2 famous superstars who apparently must have used time dilation devices, because they actually were not even at the same party, the after parties that night on record, but they magically teleported to this house and put it on this little kid, and apparently J-Lo watched, because that's what this person was one step of saying. It was J-Lo, because they said it was another woman that was with P. Diddy that stood there and watched. Just these people make up stories and lies. Now, if you scratch the surface and you ask any questions, these stories all fall apart. They all do. I don't know if anybody knows women. You act like you never met one, but when they're telling you stories, if you ask any questions, they get very upset because they're lies. And the lies they came up with are surface. You scratching the surface, now I got to come up with bigger lies to overtake, to cover over the first lies. It's a pointless. You can't do it. So when NBC News asked this other person these questions, and they were like, well, and the entire case fell apart. The charges were dismissed. But now everyone's asking Buzbee, well, how did this person make it through you in your screening process to the point where it was actually a filed case where now you're being sued? How did it get to that point? And it seems like now Buzbee's going after another target. And if he can win any money from Shannon Sharpe, it would probably just break even, because that money's going to have to go to pay for Jay-Z's legal fees for defending himself against fraudulent claims. So this is the same Tony Buzbee that represented the mentally ill woman who had all these fantasies of having all this sex with these big old, I don't know, maybe she's seen Roots a few times and was thinking, she said it was either Jay-Z and Puff Daddy, or it was Chicken George and Kunta. So it was, she wasn't sure which, but she knew it was which. That's how you knew the story was kind of funny, because it's like, well, how do you know which slave got you? So she was kind of, going in between those four. But anyway, so this is the disgraced Tony Buzbee, and I don't know why he is still. Why not diversify your targets? Go after Justin Timberlake at least, and then throw it away. Then go after somebody. Don't just keep going after black, because then it's gonna look like there's a pattern. It looks like you're targeting them. Don't do that. Divide it up, bro. There's got to be somebody somewhere that said Jet Li put the tiger shrimp on her and she didn't like it, and get somebody from some other background. Stop targeting only black people. I don't even believe in racism, but I'm seeing a pattern. Pattern recognition is real. It doesn't have to be racial, but it is stop going after dudes that are from the same background. Get some diversity in your targets that you're trying to frame. Jesus Christ. But this is the same Buzbee.
On Instagram, he wrote in part, "I'm extremely proud to represent Jane Doe. It takes a great deal of courage to stand up against those with power, fame, and money. I look forward to pressing this case in court." So we're going to go over this, but I want to first bring in John Clune, civil attorney who litigates on behalf of survivors of sexual abuse and sexual assault. John, so good to have you. And again, this is kind of breaking news. I didn't have an opportunity to fully go through this lawsuit, so you and I are going to break this down in basically real time. When we saw this early this morning, it was a shock to us. What was your initial reaction?
My initial reaction was the timing of it, to be honest. Before I read the lawsuit, just the timing of it for it to be filed, on Easter Sunday, that struck me as an unusual move. But then as I went through the lawsuit, the allegations are pretty disturbing.
Oh my God! Shut the fuck, bro. Listen to me when I say this. Listen to me very clear. All sex, whether it's consensual or not, all sex, when you speak the words, unless you're some kind of sick pervert, describing any sexual acts sounds horrific. And it all sounds disturbing. Have you ever read a Zane novel? Did you watch, what is it called? Not 13 Years a Slave. What's the other one? What was that one? What's that one movie where they were tying people up? What is it called? Let's see here. Erotic sex movie bondage. What was it called? Let's see here. Let's see. What was it called? Erotic sex movie bondage. And they had like different part 1 and part 2. What is it called? Where they were like, and it's in The Weeknd is singing. The Weeknd, 50 Shades of Grey. Wow. Somebody put 12 Years a Slave. Close. No, it was 50 Years a Slave. No, what was it called? 50 Shades of Grey. So on 50 Shades of Grey, you have people, even if you're reading that book, it sounds disturbing. All talk of any type of sex, unless you're just a major creep, it sounds disgusting and disturbing. Why do you think after you watch porn, you're disgusted with yourself and you want to throw your phone away and you're like, I can't believe I just did this. It's horrible. So this guy here pretending that it's so, there's nothing that was so outlandish or out of line. He didn't take a turkey baster. He didn't go chop off the limb of a wild animal and just hoof this broad. So what's so disturbing? Sex is disturbing to you? Heterosexual, normal sex is disturbing to you? Give me a break. No, it's not, bro. Just stop it. But people will say anything to be bombastic, anything to make you sound like some kind of like just twisted animal. Any type of intercourse with a woman is supposed to be the end of the world and horrible. I failed to buy that. I don't think that's fair. But let's continue.
We don't know if they're true or not, but what's written in the complaint is pretty terrible stuff.
What's
So I
terrible?
have to say, to go after Shannon Sharpe, if you're Tony Buzbee, after what happened, what just happened with Jay-Z, remember, he filed that lawsuit on behalf of a Jane Doe, a woman who claimed that she was 13 years old back in 2000 and was sexually assaulted by Jay-Z. That lawsuit was dropped, and it came after serious questions of her story and credibility surfaced, both by reporting by NBC News and evidence that was presented by Jay-Z's side. Jay-Z ended up suing this woman, suing Tony Buzbee as well. So now to go after Shannon Sharpe, another high-profile figure, does that tell you that he feels he has the evidence in this case?
Well, Mr. Buzbee is a pretty bold mover in this space. I mean, he seems to not be, shocked about his decision making. So it could mean that he's got the goods in this particular case, or it could just be, kind of par for the course. And this is how he, handles this high-profile cases.
This is the thing. Someone like Shannon Sharpe, he's an older man. You don't have to have the goods on somebody his age to scare them. He's an older black man. Black people are scared of everything. So if you're threatening a man who's not used to prison with any kind of litigation, remember, he's new money. You're threatening to take away his money he just got. And if he loses, God forbid, loses to based on lies, then who's to say he's able to recoup this kind of money and bounce back? He's watched men who played next to him on those fields go broke and never make it up again. He's one out of a million players that actually succeeds after the game. A lot of these brothers end up in prison for trying to traffic drugs or starting dog fighting rings because they tried to help their friends make money because they made money. They can't detach themselves. He's one of the few that made it out. So he's afraid of this destroying his name. What he doesn't understand is that when you do nothing wrong, you have to stand on it. Yes, you can still lose and be innocent, but this isn't criminal. Yeah, they're going to want to bring you in front of a trial jury, and you got to talk about your sexual escapades, your kinks, and what you're into. But that comes along with the territory. You're already selling pills to help your penis work on the internet. You've already posted a video of you having sex with some random chick in some room. Then you know what? You should embrace this as just more advertising for you and take it in front of a jury trial and let this woman explain why she's talking dirty to you in all these text messages. And if you put the grapes on her back in October, why did she come see you twice to get graped multiple times and then return in January wanting more and then send you text messages after that time telling you she wants to see you again? That doesn't sound like a person who was assaulted or who's afraid. That just sounds like a person who's an opportunist and was just hoping you would settle without taking it this far to court. Because remember, for these women with the false accusations, there are no consequences for attempting to destroy these men. Some of these men commit suicide, especially if you have children and they're trying to embarrass you. All men are not, a lot of men don't have the mental strength to handle these types of allegations or this pressure. And I hope he doesn't fall underneath it, because remember, again, he's new money, he's older. And they keep bringing up his age. Oh, he's so old. Why is he dealing with it? No, you should be asking that young woman why she wants some of him. Why is she at his house? Why is she over there laying in bed with him? Why is she texting him? Why doesn't she have a 21-year-old man her own age? Why isn't she in love with him? Everyone's asking Sharpe all these questions, but men and women are equal, right? Women are equals, yes. Well, then why aren't you asking the women these same questions? Why is all the pressure on Sharpe? If men and women are equal, then the fact that he's a man and that he's older, she's a younger woman, bro. They're the same. I don't see any age difference. I don't see any gender difference. They're both even. We got to by force, we're going to bring society into the modern age. Women have they have agency, they have strength, they have choice, they have access to cell phones. They can report these matters, they can record these matters, they can call the police. They don't need a husband, they don't need a man, they're independent. Then it makes it harder to play victim when you're not victimized. This did not go to the police. This went straight to the lawyers because this was money. Remember, when you can't get a child from him and you can't get him to marry you, you got to accuse him of something, because after that, he's about to be gone. and you didn't get anything from it besides some free food, free drinks, and a couple of bags. But you want long-term money. You want a piece of his money. So you're going to make up something about him. He either verbally assaulted you, mentally abused you, sexual SA abused you. You'll say anything to give you some of those resources. And in a way, you're punishing this man for liking women, basically encouraging homosexuality, because I don't know, last time I checked, those men aren't really getting accused of much. They meet each other on Grindr and rest stop men's rooms, like on It's Something About Mary. They don't get caught up. So it's kind of like they're pushing men that are successful to go that route, because that's the only time you're not going to have a bunch of scandals. I refuse. I think society to just, instead of men having to be gay, I'd rather society just update itself so that men have a fair shake and women are not given the time of day when it comes to these frivolous, nonsensical charges that they cannot prove are true. The burden of proof should not be on the person who's being accused. It should be on the person making the accusation, and words alone and tears are not enough. You have a cell phone in your pocket. Prove to me that this man was stalking you. Prove to me that he did something to you that was unwarranted. He kidnapped you and forced you to go to his house and wouldn't let you leave. Show me. Show me. You're accusing him. You should be able to do that. Or am I crazy? You know, some people in the chat saying I'm crazy. Some people are saying I make perfect sense. It just depends on who you ask.
But you know, and me and I know, you can't just file a frivolous lawsuit. You can't file a lawsuit to harass somebody. You have to believe the law.
That is not true. People file frivolous lawsuits every day. Think about it, because depending on your political background, no one's going to come after you. Right now, I'm watching Democrats that literally broke the Logan Act. You think they're going to be prosecuted and charged? No, because they're Democrats. You can be a Democrat lawyer, file frivolous lawsuits against people, and nothing's going to happen. You're not going to lose your license. You're not going to be brought up on any kind of charges. So there's no consequences, because the right doesn't have the backbone to go after some of these people. Or Buzbee would have been charged when he was sued by Jay-Z. He shouldn't even be still making these allegations. But who's going to go after him? Nobody. So yes, people do file frivolous lawsuits and nothing happens to them, and that's why they keep doing it.
Some semblance of facts that you put forward in a complaint.
No, there doesn't.
That pass a motion to dismiss test.
Oh no! See, that's the thing. The motion to dismiss can come months later, but within those months, the stress and the anxiety of the impending trial coming up, jury selection will make somebody want to just get it over with so they can travel and get back to work, and that's when they settle. That's when they settle. You can't settle. Fight. Jay-Z made a point to show these people, I'm not playing with you. We are going to fight. I will show you better than I can tell you. And he did. As men, we cannot just give in and just roll over. We let these women divorce us and take our homes. We don't really fight for our children. We don't really fight for our property. Stop marrying these women, and you're better off. Now, I'll be honest with you. I'd rather see Shannon Sharpe dealing with a situation like this that I know he can beat because it's fake, than him going through a nasty divorce with a woman he's been married to for 2 years who wants half. 2 years ago, she was butt naked in the projects on a zebra with a bone in her nose. Now she wants half. I'd rather him be getting accused of all this, because this is normal. You're supposed to get accused by poor women who want some of that money that you got, because they're only messing with you because you got the money. Once they know that their little attitude or their little outbursts or their little smart remarks got them cut off, well, now they got to accuse you of something because they still want money from you. So, you can't really, you got to expect that and prepare for that. So let's go back to the rest of it.
So he has to feel that he might not have all the evidence right now, but he has to feel confident in Jane Doe's account, right? Otherwise, he'd be breaking ethics.
The thing with these accounts, like sexual assault, just a Jane Doe against an individual, is it's really hard to get rid of that case on a motion to dismiss, or even down the road on a motion for summary judgment. Because if you have your client who's saying, this is what happened to me, and then in this case, say Mr. Sharpe says, no, that's not what happened, it was very different, that's really a trial issue. That's not something a judge is really going to dismiss on motion. So other types of cases that have more subtle elements to them maybe can get dismissed on motion, but this kind of thing is really hard for a defendant planning to get rid of short trial.
By the way, our content shows just how rampant crime is right now. And that's especially true with cybercrime. Cybercrime are more dangerous and widespread. It threatens businesses like never before. I mean, did you know that in 2024, 1 in 5 businesses fell victim to ransomware, and half of those were small businesses?
Yeah, this is just commercial. But since they're doing that, let's get a word from our sponsor, which is cosigning.com. If you're looking to move into an apartment, but you don't have a friend or a family member willing to be your co-signer, maybe because your income's a little low or your credit score is a little low, reach out to co-signing.com. They'll match you with a qualified co-signer today to help you get approved for your dream apartment. So just tell them you heard about this on the club on the Single Boyfriend podcast. That's our sponsor for today. That's our ad read. Since these people are doing their own ads, let's go ahead and get back to the show. They're conflating this with Diddy. They're complaining it because there is a pattern, and Buzbee's lawsuits against Diddy are being now thrown out. He's a disgraced person, and what they do is they're just they're ambulance chasers, except for women who are looking to get money from men they had sex with who broke up with them. I personally have had this happen to me. I'm not super rich and famous. I'm just a regular guy. I work, but when somebody's been dealing with you for a long time, depending on the guy, if you're a woman, everything is free. Life's easy mode. I go out to eat because I have to feed myself every day. So if you're with me, you're eating for free as well. When I go party, I'm already buying a table, so you don't have to pay for anything. You get to party for free. Then you go stay at my house. I got to pay to live at my house anyway. So now you get to live for free. But guess what? With a lot of these women, they watch the internet and they develop all these, they ask for more and more and more from you instead of just being grateful and happy that they're with somebody. And one day you're calling him to come over his house and he stops answering your phone calls. I just got a message today from a weird number, and I don't read long text messages from women. I could tell it was a long text message from a woman because it was a long text message. Guys get to the point. I just saw that at the very end of it, she was like, I just want to slap the shit out you. For what? I scroll up a little bit and I send a text to a good friend of mine, and she's like, yeah, Rico, she's saying that you ghosted her. Yeah, I ghosted her. She got smart with me on the phone twice, and she got an attitude and hung up in my face. And the last time she hung up on me, the first time she ever hung up on me was the last time she ever hung up on me. I disappeared, blocked her on all social media, blocked her cell phone number. She can't call any of my phones. I don't owe her nothing. We don't have kids. I never asked her to go put a cell phone in her name. She doesn't pay. My car's not in her name. She doesn't do anything for me. So I don't need you. And I met someone who looks just like her, so I replaced her. And she sends me this text message. It's been 4 months. If she didn't know that I make videos of every time we hang out and all the little stuff that we do, God knows what she might think. Because, they see your car, they see your house, they see this, that, and that. And you don't talk about yourself, but they're just, women are good with numbers. They're keeping score. And that's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing too, because eventually they're like, I need to marry this guy. Or their mother tells her, you need to marry this guy. This is 2025. We're not marrying these women. We're not marrying these 304s so you can embarrass me next year. Listen here, guys. Any women that you meet that you think you want to marry, it's only because you're shallow and she's really pretty. The truth is, you need to look at her and think to yourself, not soon before long, this is the woman that's going to be suing you. Keep that in mind every time you meet a woman anywhere in public. Yeah, you want to have sex with her. Yeah, you want to, hang out with her and brag to your friends. Look how, because, that's what we do as men. We compare our girlfriend to our friends' girlfriends and wives, and we kind of get one up on each other. It's kind of like a little hidden secret thing men do. Because you'll see his wife and he'll see your girl, and you're like, yeah, I won. But you won today. He can come with a side chick and he can win tomorrow. You never know. But it's a competition. However, keep it in mind, these women are going to eventually sue you. Your wife, you think you love your wife, you think your wife loves you. Let you get a little bit more money or let something come up. She's going to sue you. And when I say sue you, that's what a divorce is. Tiger Woods had a girlfriend who tried to sue him when he broke up with her. They're not married and no kids. Luckily, the judge threw it out. Do you know what kind of precedent that would send if women could sue men who broke up with them because he promised them things? Girl, when I'm drunk and high and horny, I will promise to literally drive to Florida. I will kidnap Elon Musk at Cape Canaveral, and I will force that nigga to make me a specialized rocket with a picture of you on it, and me and you are going to go to the moon and back. Depending on how drunk and horny I am, I would literally use ChatGPT to draw up a game plan how to make that possible. If you are a pretty enough woman that I really want, I will literally say some wild shit like that, but I don't really mean it. Here you are the next day calling me after we done had smecks, and you're like, yeah, so what time are we about to go? And I brought some gloves. I'm wearing all black today, and I have a ski mask, and I brought a plastic bag we can put over his head. I'm like, put over whose head? What the fuck? What are you talking about? And in her head, she's like, we're really gonna go kidnap Elon Musk and make him send us on a SpaceX rocket that goes nowhere. I'm like, damn, I was like, I didn't know I was that horny, but I'm just talking. I'm talking, and again, you say wild things, and women are taking you to court now over promises. You can't take me to court over promise. That's not an agreement. That's just me talking shit. I can talk shit. That's freedom of speech. And you can't punish me for just saying what I have to say so that we can hook up, because maybe I was going to kidnap Elon Musk so he can get us a rocket. But then I changed my mind. So what you trying to say? Because I'm a man and I got money and you're a hot chick, I can't change my mind? I'm supposed to just want you for? Nah, after the sex, I don't want to kidnap him anymore. Let Elon go do his thing. I'm pretty sure he's busy. I don't feel like kidnapping. I don't even want to kidnap. I mean, I don't want his rocket anymore. I'd rather just, I don't know, go to Galveston and go swimming. I don't want to do all that. It's like, I shouldn't have to. I can make you a promise and change my mind. You can decide you want us to have sex under my house and change your mind. And I can't say, but wait a minute. 30 minutes ago, you text me and said, you want to come do this? Okay, you don't want to, then get the hell out. Bye. You don't have to. Leave. I don't owe you nothing. You don't owe me nothing. Nobody owes anyone anything. We're adults. We're individuals. You don't have to keep every promise. And what they're trying to say is that these men are promising women. When men can make promises and break them. We're not infallible. There's no unless I'm legally obligated to keep a promise, I don't have to. And I'm not. Shit, and if I made you a promise and I didn't keep it and you're a girl, I was just trying to have sex, baby, I'll do it again. And I'll tell your mom and your sister the same promise, and I'll break it happily. And I've done that too. Because, I had a girlfriend tell me, oh, my mom would never mess with you, and my sister, you're not her type. What? Baby, Rico is everybody. I'm everybody's type. My Instagram name is everybody's boyfriend, Rico. I'm your mom's boyfriend too. So guess what? To her surprise, when I ended up hooking up with her mom and her sister at different times, not at the same time. I mean, I'm not goated like that, but I mean, I probably could have figured it out, but I didn't. I went one at a time, but I don't have to be a perfect guy. I don't have to do that. I can be a hoe if I want to, and so can you. That's the beauty of being a modern woman, right? We're both modern people. You can do what you want. I do what I want. And if I want to break my promises to you, then God damn it, it's broken. What are you going to do? You can't sue me for breaking a promise. So you can try, but you're going to have to pay my legal fees because there's nothing illegal about it.
Jane Doe's, possibly even the John Does have had to come forward and reveal their identities. Talk to me about what the interest, the different factors the court will look at, whether or not Jane Doe would be able to proceed anonymously.
Yeah, I'd say at best it's 50-50 that she's able to proceed in that fashion. I mean, generally speaking, there's a strong preference in the courts for transparency and open proceedings. That includes using your real name in the lawsuit. If you can convince a court that there's a public interest in keeping her name, from the public, which can be something like safety issues, it can be the shame of the situation, if it's the age of the person, quite often if they're underage, you're much more likely to be able to keep, the suit now.
Nope. We have the right to face our accuser. If you don't want to be publicly disgraced or known for being a liar, then don't make up any lies. That's it. The person you're accusing doesn't get to keep this under wraps until we figure out if it's true or not. So neither can you. No, hell no.
But in this kind of case where it's one adult against another, unless there's any particular safety harms, it's not an easy thing to be able to convince a judge to keep it as a jury.
You've seen the argument put forward. Defendant has a right to defend himself, to investigate your claims, to investigate you. You're the one who chose to file the lawsuit to put your credibility at issue. So you should have to be able to proceed with your name and your identity being exposed. But again, there are certain factors to consider. And by the way, when we talk about Tony Buzbee, let's not forget he filed numerous lawsuits on behalf of others against Sean Combs. That's how his name has really come up in the news in the past several years, right? Held that press conference where he said that he was representing so many dozens of accusers against Sean Combs.
And you know what's what's ironic about someone like Buzbee is that you can also, every time you point one finger at somebody, there's literally 100 other fingers being pointed right back at you. So the same way that Buzbee accused Jay-Z and now Shannon Sharpe, he's also being accused that he's also being and actually that's when he dropped that lawsuit. Somebody's actually accusing Buzbee. Yeah, accused. Let's see here. Sexual allegations against Tony Buzbee. Let's see here. Yeah, see, they talk about him, but where is the one where there's actually somebody actually accused Tony Buzbee of being a sexual assaulter as well? Let's see here. See, he has so many. This is a part of the algorithm problem. There's so much stuff. Anonymous male celebrity sues Tony Buzbee. That's Jay-Z. But what about there is a lawsuit against Buzbee? You guys can look it up when you get a chance. I'm looking for it right now, but let's see here. Sexual assault allegations against Tony Buzbee. Let me see here. Typos. Where is it? Let me see here. Let's go to ChatGPT Tizzle. Article. Let's find it. Now, I don't want them to write it. I just wanted them to tell me about it. But anyway, the reason why Buzbee is disgraced now is because now others are coming out and accusing him of the things that he's accused others of. So, like I said, I think he's just basically hoping that Shannon Sharpe is a soft target, and he's not a very aggressive man. He's older, a lot of gay rumors. So you would think that he might just want to settle this and get it out of the way. But the truth is, Buzbee is going to lose these other cases. He's going to have to pay a lot of money, and he's going to need to recoup some of that money from other people. So let's see here.
So now I want to dig into what this lawsuit has to say. So Tony Buzbee, let me just say, known for his flamboyant speech in his civil filings. And in this one, doesn't appear to be any exception, because it begins, a woman can say yes to consensual sexual relations with a man 99 times. But when she says no, even once, that no means no. Defendant Shannon Sharpe, a man who's accustomed to getting what he wants, completely fails to understand this basic concept.
No, none of this ever happened. I read the report. She said after the 3rd month of her coming back to go be with him, they were doing some stuff, and then while they're doing it, maybe she said no, maybe just a bunch of nonsense and lies. The good thing is a lot of us men are smart enough nowadays to make women text us. I don't like phone calls, because in a phone call you can say, well, Rico, you said this and then you said that. No, I didn't. So that's why I like to put everything in black and white. And we can just go back through my text messages and you can read what I said. I can read what you said, and it's right there stamped. There is no, subtle nuances of my tone or what I was trying to say or what you thought I said or what I meant. Everything's right there in black and white, but this guy Buzbee is desperate to even represent a woman who actually was his girlfriend, who was obviously disgruntled because she thought that they were exclusive, but then there's a video of him smashing on another woman, and she's thinking that she was just doing this old rich man a favor. Baby, nobody needs you. Go get a man 21 years old and go stay in his studio apartment. Why are you barking up Shannon Sharpe's tree? If he scared you at the gym, why didn't you call security? Why didn't you call security or something? Why didn't you scream bloody murder for help at the gym on day 1? Why would you give him your number? Why wouldn't you block his number? Why would you go to his house? It never says he went to her house. She goes to his house. Why are you at that man's house? Go home. If you choose to stay, you can't accuse him of anything because you regret dealing with him. That's not how this works. But because of the potential payout, they're willing to abuse their own name, ruin their own reputation. You got to think about it. When these women, if they are ever applying for a job in the future or they're going to date, all it's going to take is for a man to just type their name in the internet, and boom, you see that she was accusing this man of this man of that, this man, and she has a history. Now, if you want to keep having sex with her and messing with her, then guess what, brother? It's at your own risk. It's at your own peril. But some of these women are young, so they don't really have a history. You're just her first victim. She's not 30 where she has 5 victims. You're the first one. So that's sometimes just like it's like a person who murders somebody. There was a time before that person ever murdered somebody. They weren't a murderer in 5th grade. That didn't start until they were in college, so they don't really have a history. So you don't really know to watch out for this person. And these guys, think about it. These women are predators. If Tony Buzbee is specifically going after rich black men, entertainers and athletes, but magically these women are targeting rich black men, then it seems like there is a level of predation going on. There are predators, and the prey are these black men with money, either from entertainment or from sports. That's the prey. What do you do about it? Well, luckily there's people like me that make shows and make content. And we talk about it. We bring these conversations to the front. And every time that I ask, why are we following laws about relationships, and why are we following family law from 1930 and 2025? Now, I'm not saying all laws are outdated. The Constitution is from the 18th century. So is the Enemy Aliens Act. So are other laws that we love and protect. What year did they write the 10 Commandments? So it's not about the age. But when it comes to relationships and the roles men and women play, the women from the 18th century are not the women of the 21st century. They're not the 20th century. They're not the same women. Now the laws have changed. So that means the other laws have to change to compensate for that. Women are not just at the mercy of men their whole lives where they can't do anything. We do not live under Sharia law. This is not Abu Dhabi. This is the United States of America. It's men and women it's being accepted to the point where in a lot of places, men can even play women's sports, use a woman's bathroom, and it's all just merged together. It's okay. So then how can women be victims all the time? Why are men always the aggressor? It doesn't make sense. Matter of fact, why is child support even a thing when women can work? how does one justify alimony when women can vote? You know, if you want to be able to vote and you want to be able to receive alimony, then you have to forfeit any claims for alimony or child support. You shouldn't be able to have both. That doesn't make sense. It's not fair. Now, if you're going to say you don't have any agency, you're invalid, you can't do anything, then you shouldn't be able to vote, and you can't work, and you got to get alimony and child support. But that's the only time you're going to get me to support alimony and child support for women who give up their right to work and they give up their right to vote, and they just admit on paper and they announce to the courts, I'm an invalid. I cannot take care of myself. I can't do nothing for myself. I don't want agency. I don't want freedom. I want to be dependent on a man. I want to live like I did my ancestors lived in the 1930s. But there's no way you can justify that in 2025 and claim to be a victim, claim to be an invalid, but yet you have full agency, can vote, can work, can travel, can drive cars without a man standing next to you. It doesn't make sense. And until it does make sense, I'm going to keep making this point. We have to get these laws updated. And honestly, Trump and Elon Musk have been targeted by women for years. And I think that if anyone's going to ever do it, these are going to be the guys to do it. Hopefully, if we don't get it done now, it's probably never going to happen. And what that's going to mean is that the birth rate in the United States is going to continue to collapse, and so will the marriage rates. Because I have a lot of my friends that are finding love in Thailand to women that are Thai, women in the Philippines, women in Japan, women in Colombia, women in other countries, and they don't want to bring those women to this country. They'd rather start a life over there. They just make money here. So they're coming here, extracting money and resources, sending it abroad. Just the way illegals come over here, make money, send it back home. Nobody wants to have a family in the United States anymore. The women are destroyed, they're tainted, and the laws are no longer equal or fair. It's not fair. So if you're the only men I know that are still getting married over here are men that are just dumb. They're slow. They don't read. They don't pay attention to anything. They're kind of just like NPC drones. And a lot of women like guys like that. He'll just go get in the truck and he'll drive for weeks, and she gets to do whatever she wants, bring people home, and then she gets pregnant. Tell you that's your kid, Charles, and he's a hurting guy, can't murder. And he just doesn't know what he does. He's a simpleton. There's a lot of men like that. They're raising 3 or 4 kids that aren't biologically his, and he doesn't even know it because he's simple, or because the woman is so pretty, he knows he can't replace that woman, and maybe he's not simple, he's just shallow. But every now and again, those men lose their mind, they snap, they hurt the woman, and they end up in jail. And that's a nasty situation. But he already knows he's going to lose everything in a divorce. She's going to get the kids. She's going to get half. She's going to get the house. She goes, man, why? Why do you got to lose everything to be in a relationship? Why do I got to make you sign a prenup? Why are the courts even judging based off of that? That all has to change. And hopefully more cases like this are going to force these conversations to come up. That's just my opinion. If you follow my opinion and you like it, follow me, The Single Boyfriend on Instagram, The Single Boyfriend on YouTube, or The Single Hubby on X. Boyfriend was too long of a word. Just, follow me, keep in touch, leave comments, and we can talk about this.
For many months of manipulating and controlling plaintiff, a woman more than 30 years younger than he, and repeatedly threatened to brutally choke and violently slap her.
Again, why do you keep bringing up how much younger than him? Is she over 21? Okay, then she's grown. It doesn't matter. She's an adult. What if he's 100 years ago? A woman that's 80 years his junior. She's still grown. She's still fucking grown. I was watching X videos the other day, and don't ask me why, but a video of a gangbang came up, and it was all men in their 70s and some 19-year-old girl. And I think she was on Bang Buzz, and don't ask me how I know. I'm just telling you what I saw. And do you know how many people complained about that and wrote the president, wrote the state congressman and said, hey, this is wrong. She's 18 years old, and these old men are having sex. Nobody gave a damn. But because he's a black celebrity ex-football player, now people care about how many years his junior, the women he's messing with is. I don't buy it, and I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. I don't think it's right. It's ridiculous. Until porn is illegal, until barely legal porn is illegal, or any porn, or all porn is illegal, then I don't want to hear about you complaining about men flying women out because they have sex with them. Porn companies in Miami fly women from all over the country and from different countries to their studios in Arizona, Miami, Los Angeles to make movies of these women having sex. But that's not sex trafficking. But if I'm at a bar and I meet a chick and she calls me and says, hey, let's hook up. And I say, okay, cool. Let me put you in an Uber. And I run afoul of the government. They're going to come after me and say, hey, you did pay for that woman's transportation in the Uber to come to your house to have sex. That's sex trafficking. Get the fuck. And literally that's what they got R. Kelly for. They're trying to accuse that of Diddy because he flew Cassie around. And they're trying to say that was trafficking. So you can't even, to your girlfriend in 10 years, you can't even fly her out. Yeah, what I don't like is the selective charges. This means that we're not all equally being charged under the law, which is a problem for me because I'm a constitutionalist. So I don't like it. And it's not right. And you have to, but who's going to make this argument? People are afraid of what women are going to say, what women are going to think. I'm just not on that list. They're not going to like everything I say anyway, but they don't have to.
Sharpe refused to accept the answer no and raped plaintiff.
Bullshit.
Despite their sobbing and repeated screams of no. Court
lies. The same lies they use with everybody about everybody. I remember the first time I heard that lie was when it was Robin Givens and Mike Tyson, his wife at the time, came to his hotel room and he said they had regular sex because they're married, and she woke up the next day with a completely different story. And then he catches her with Brad Pitt. See, again, the money they extract from these men, they use that to go live the lifestyle they want. But they need your money to do it. So they have to accuse you of the most heinous and horrible things so that judges and juries will feel so sorry for you that they illegally siphon money and transfer it to you from another person based on your story, based on how good your story is. In these situations, there is no physical evidence that there's no rape kit. Matter of fact, this is not even criminal. This is all just civil, just stories. So how good is your story? How convincing are you? Can you cry on the drop of a dime? I mean, what is it? 9 out of 10 women can do it. And then you get paid. So basically, just for a man being a normal heterosexual person, being attracted to women, now you're being sued and penalized, and you risk losing everything. And when the whole purpose of you wanting to be a rich and successful, big, strong man is so that you can attract women. So it's like the whole reason you're doing this is to meet women. And then you got to worry about women trying to destroy you for wanting to meet them. So I got to marry every woman I have sex with. I got to give every woman $1 million every time I have sex. So what did Mr. Let Go say? CPN, cost per net. So if you're Shannon Sharpe, right? If she gets $50 million and he had sex with her, let's say 10 times. So his CPN, his cost per nut is $5 million. So every time he ejaculates sexually with this woman, he owes her $5 million. Whatever happened to how much did it cost to eat at Applebee's? That means your CPN was $43. How do we go from $43 and then I get to have sex with you and come? How do we go from 43 to 5 million? I thought black people were oppressed and doing bad and groveling in the dirt in America. How the fuck does anybody even have 5 million to give somebody per nut? Or matter of fact, why not tell them your cost up front? Again, I'm not an advocate saying prostitution is a good thing, but what I'm saying is that men out here trying to get free sex, it's going to cost you anyway. These women, they want something. They're not just showing up to your hotel room to have sex with you because they think you're handsome. There's a lot of handsome guys. They're not doing it just for that. They're doing it because they want something in return, or they're going to feel played. I remember Nelly. He worked out every day, buff as hell, and met some nice white chick. She came to the tour bus at 3 a.m. He smacked it up, flipped it, hit with a sexual assault charge the next day. I said, Nelly. I said, Air Force was big boy. I said, even Nelly, he got all those songs. Cool AA, you know, got the tip drill video. Even he's accused of grape because guess what? When that girl was leaving out of that hotel bus, you know, that when she was leaving the tour bus, you know what he should have said? Hey, baby, what are you doing tomorrow? Should have been like nothing. Say, look, I want to see you, but if I don't see you, what's your Cash App? He should have just sent her some bread and said, look, go buy a nice outfit, go buy some shoes, and then we're going to hook up tomorrow. We'll get you something to wear. Guess what? No matter how little or whatever, should have said, you know what? Thank you. This is better than just me coming over, getting smacked up, and I got to pay for my own gas to get home. I'm poor. I don't have that kind of money. I'm broke. You know, what am I going to do? Like, shit, it would have been better than nothing. Stop trying to get free sex. Jesus Christ.
Blaine Jane Doe worked out at the same gym as Shannon Sharpe in Los Angeles, and she was 19 at the time. This is what she claims. And she claims that he had been watching her during her workouts and finally introduced himself, insisting that she get her number. And the filing says that Jane Doe found Sharpe, quote, physically intimidating. The lawsuit reads, over the next couple of weeks, Sharpe incessantly pursued plaintiff. He constantly approached her at the gym and attempted to contact her frequently with phone calls and text messages asking to meet up, unwilling to take no for an answer. Eventually, plaintiff gave in and agreed to meet with Sharpe outside of the gym. However, before doing so, Sharpe demanded that Doe sign a non-disclosure agreement, or NDA, something plaintiff found a bit concerning. She wondered why Sharpe was so insistent on her signing an NDA. She refused. Despite his repeated efforts to get her to sign, she refused time and again. Eventually, he dropped the issue and invited her to his house. Now, the lawsuit claims that this relationship between Sharpe and Jane Doe, again more than 30 years his junior, was consensual, but it was rocky. She said he'd insisted they were exclusive, but then was caught multiple times lying about his whereabouts and who he was seeing. According to the filing, quote, by October 2024, Sharpe's behavior had grown progressively worse, beyond anything plaintiff had experienced with him before. At this point, he was insistent upon recording their sexual activity, sometimes without her knowledge. Sharpe was also sharing the videos with others without her permission or knowledge. Sharpe would repeatedly tell Doe that he wanted to do to her things that would make no other man want her. By this point, Sharpe was no longer able to credibly maintain the relationship was exclusive. He had at this point accidentally or purposely, to advance his career, went live on Instagram while having sex with another woman. Sharpe flew into fits of anger when plaintiff noted his infidelity to the relationship or called him out about his extraneous activities. What had once become manipulation, control, and intimidation now became something far more dangerous and sinister. Sharpe even figured out how to get into Doe's apartment complex without her permission. Sharpe made it clear that what Doe wanted was of no moment, that Sharpe would get what he wanted when he wanted it. In October 2024, Shannon Sharpe violently sexually assaulted and anally raped plaintiff 2 different times in Las Vegas, Nevada, blatantly ignoring her request for him to stop. He did it again in January. Now, before we get into what the claims for relief are here, first, John, your thoughts on that narrative put forward by Jane Doe?
Yeah, I mean, it's deliberately graphic narrative. There's nothing inherently wrong with going into that level of detail in these types of cases to kind of get the court's attention on how serious this is. But it's, it's probably the more graphic side of the scale in terms of these types of pleadings.
If there are recordings, how would she be able to get access to them, and how could that help her case?
Well, when she gets into civil discovery, she can demand copies of those, whether they exist or ever existed, we don't know. But
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. So, so now what? Now there's going to go from, oh, well, it wasn't actually a sexual assault, but actually I want to sue him now because he's recording me without my permission. So now that's what it's going to warp into, because the videos are going to prove that everything was consensual. She was a willing participant. See, this is another issue I have. Like, for example, I use myself in all my examples. I don't like talking about other people. I was dating this chick from Chicago, and she was into pain. And she'd be like, Rico, I want you to choke me and slap me and like literally degrade me and spit on me while we're like, you know, having sex. That's not necessarily my lane. When people think I'm a freak, I'm like, look, I like 2 or 3 girls there at the same time. I don't necessarily want to just focus on one woman. And I'm definitely not, I got big hands. I'm not a little dude, I'm a big man. So I'm not trying to be slapping and hitting on anybody. But she was like, no, I want you to dominate me. I want to be your sub. I want you to tell me what to do. I want you to yell at me. I want you to cuss me out. I want you to talk to me like shit. Now, on the flip side, there are men who go to certain women and they want the women to do that to them. They want to be dominated. They want to be kicked in the balls, and they want her to tell him to go to the ATM, withdraw everything, give it to her, and then clean her floor with his tongue. Like, you don't, my point is this, you don't know everybody's relationship dynamic. I used to judge people and be like, bro, you letting your girl go cheat on you? You're a simp, bro, break up with her. Because I find out she's cheating. I see her out with another dude. I go call my boy. I'm like, hey, bro, she's in here right now. She's getting tongued down at the bar, this and this. And he's like, what? He's pretending like he's mad. But then he won't break up with her. And I'm like, what? I'm like, bro, are you that fucking weak? Why don't you break up with this chick, bro? I just seen her with somebody else. And the truth is, he likes that she goes out, has sex with other men. And then what he does is he gets off because she comes home and she tells him about the size of these other men's penises. He's not gay. He loves his girl, but he gets off on hearing her stories of being promiscuous and cheating. Okay, that's what we call a lifestyle. It's a choice. Now, just because it's not my lifestyle choice doesn't mean it's wrong. Just because I don't think it's appropriate to tell girls I'm going to choke them and slap them, and you better do what I say. You must want me to choke you. You must like that. And she says, I don't want to get choked. Then, bitch, why don't you hang up the fucking phone? It's because this is a part of their dynamic. It's unconventional. It might be a little embarrassing, but it's not illegal. And just because you don't understand a person's relationship dynamic doesn't mean it's wrong, and it's not your business to know. It's not your business. Look, I'm watching another video. Where was this at? I was watching a woman talk about their relationship business, and it had nothing to do with her, but she doesn't understand it. Oh, right here. This now, don't get me wrong. I like this guy a lot. He's a cool guy. Mr. Let Go, Aaron. I believe his name's Aaron.
I say you're just gonna like get mad at it and you're just gonna hang up on me, so I feel like what does that even mean?
So
Don't manipulate me.
I'm gonna fucking shoot the shit out of you when I see you.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
But oh, I don't want to be choked.
Yes, you do.
I don't think you have a choice in that.
Tonality is what made it worse. He sounded extremely serious. You can't turn around and say, no, I was just joking. Put a 1 in the chat if you think this man was serious about what he said to this woman.
I immediately put a fucking 2 in his chat. Aaron, will you stop it? You stop being a goddamn cry. Bro, just because you don't talk to women like that, you don't deal with the women Shannon Sharpe deals with. You don't deal with the kind of women I deal with. But you got the same results as him, just no allegations yet. You got to understand, everything you're saying about other men is eventually going to happen to you. It's eventually going to happen to all of us. It just, what's going to matter is, did you put any safeguards in place so that you can survive when these allegations eventually come against you? You don't got to be a $50 million, $100 million nigga for somebody to accuse you of something. You could be $80,000 a year at your job and get accused and get fired. And then they sue your company And then now you're unhireable and they put you on some block list and they won't let you work at any of these other companies in your area. That can happen with you making 75 a year. It happened to some guys actually, because a girl who used to do porn started working there. Videos of her from her porn got around the office. And now these guys are getting in trouble because I don't know, I guess they were mentioning it to her or they were asking her questions about it. And she went to HR. They get fired. She sues the company, makes some money, yada, yada. It happens. It can happen to you too. If Shannon Sharpe is over the phone, he's saying, you must want me to choke. He didn't choke her. He's talking to her like that. And if you look at her, she's actually being submissive. Modern women are not like that. They argue and cuss and talk back. They fucking drink tequila and Hennessy straight. No chaser and no ice. They do what they want to do. She wants to be on the phone with him, making that video. She's not afraid of him. He's not threatening to kill her or hurt her. These women want a man, a daddy, somebody to put them in their place, somebody to check them. And guess what? Then they get mad at me when I say, what are you, some kind of wild animal? What do you mean handle you? I'm not handling you. You're not a hot pot that I pulled out of the stove and it's burning my hands. You're a human. Behave yourself. I'm the bad guy because I don't want to role play. You finally find a man that can role play, but then you use it against him later. Cut it out. Aaron, I like a lot of your content, bro. Cut the bullshit. That man, you scared of the phone? Hang it up. If the phone is scaring you that much, break it in half and flush it. Matter of fact, drive to the police station right now and give the cops a phone and say, man, this dude talking about slapping me over the phone. And the cops are probably thinking to themselves, what kind of service does this nigga got that a slap can travel over the airways and hit somebody through the phone? Somebody can talk crazy to you. He's not threatening to kill you. And it wasn't a literal threat of violence towards her. It was two people talking. And you want to demonize that or criminalize that, then you don't understand. It's a slippery slope. Then everything ends up being demonized or criminalized. That's bullshit. And we can't let it keep happening. And Aaron, again, I mean, you're a nice dude, but me and you disagree a lot. And hopefully, if me and you were together talking about this topic, I would bring this up because I apply it to my personal life. I apply it to your personal life. You're divorced. I'm separated 10 million times. So that equals about one divorce, kind of, in another universe somewhere. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? So you can't just sit up here and simp for these women. Not saying you're a simp, but you can't just take everything so literal and pretend like everything a man says. If a woman would have said the same thing to him, you wouldn't have made a video about it. Capiche? I hope we can talk about that. But look at this guy right here. Now, see, this dude gets it.
Shannon Sharpe signed a $100 million contract. Immediately got sued for $50 million. A woman who said that he had saved her. And he dropped them text messages, cleared it all up. I bet her lawyer was like, but when you listen to the story, right, like, it never made sense. He aggressively pursued you in the gym. Okay. Right. We're just going to take that as truth. So, like, all right, you gave him your number. Then y'all were texting. He asked you to sign an NDA. You said no. He said, cool. Invited you over to his house. You drove to his house.
Fuck that. Never say cool. Or if she don't want to sign the NDA, just make sure you got cameras everywhere in your house and infrared cameras in your bedroom. Oh, well, this is my house. I record everything in my house. This is my life. It's not about you. It's about me. You know, buy. For every one girl who's not willing to walk into a rich nigga's house because he has cameras everywhere, there's 100,000 more that are more than willing to walk into your house. Bro, they do it on their own TikTok all day anyway. There's people that have the Truman Show where they got cameras all over their house and that's what Chris Brown had to do. Why you think he ain't in trouble every week no more? You learn the hard way. Learn from these other men's mistakes. Stop trying to get free sex all the time and stop letting women tell you their terms. Fuck their terms. They're the ones that are poor trying to get around a rich person. Your terms are what matters. I record everything. I like girls that like girls. If you don't like those two things, then don't come around me. Go to hell. Go date somebody else. Go date a nigga 21 years old. Go meet him, go to the bar, go drink some Heinekens or whatever he can afford, and stay the fuck away from me. But stop compromising or you're going to end up in these situations. But I'm glad, listen, John Cannon, I love your breakdown. Keep going.
You've only ever met him in the gym. And y'all was texting. You drove to his house. You're 19. He's 50 something.
Wait. You drove on your own? I thought he put you in the back of a white van and told you he had puppies and ice creams in there. So wait a minute. He didn't even kidnap you? You volunteered at 19 to wear your little hot yoga, hot gym gear with the elastics on it. What's that company? With the Lululemon? Is that how you pronounce it? Lululemon? You wearing the Lululemon? You go to the old man house, the big house of the old man, the gray. You drove over there. Let me see. I wonder what kind of car she got. She's 19. She probably has a Civic or she might have an Altima. But, you know, she could have one of them hybrid Kias too. You know, I see a lot of these women out here with them little hybrids. It's probably white. She probably got a white one. She slid over there to that nigga's house. Not because he's sexy. Not because, all of her crotch area just caught on fire when she saw him and his grays. She went over there because she wants to get paid for sex in a roundabout way. It's just that he didn't know how much she wanted to get paid. And, honestly, now that I'm looking at it, I'm keeping score, bro. It's all prostitution. They're all 304s. There's no more women that are just out here, having sex with you just for fun because they like you. If a woman says, I like having sex with men who have money, why? It's because they want money. Not because, well, I just want them to have money. I don't need nothing from them. I just want them to have it. Actually, I want to go have sex with him and leave him some money and just add to his money. Said no woman ever alive on earth in the history of civilization. Okay, Nicki Minaj said that. She said, look, I'm going to go have sex with this guy at the halfway house. And when he gets out, I'm going to give him some money because he can't get a job because he's on a sexual offenders list. That was the last time. And I don't know a lot of people on that list. So she's, she lucked up. He's one of the only people that's going to really go for all that Nickiness. Because Meek didn't want it and Drake left it. So what could Big Rico do with it? Not much. Not much more. And worth way less. But I do have a water cooler with alkaline water in it. And women seem to like alkaline water. That's my claim to fame. So what'd you say, Mr. Cannon?
Drove to his house. He opened the door, didn't say a word to you. Walked up the stairs and you followed him. You got up to his bedroom. He went in the bathroom. He came out. He laid in the bed. You didn't know what to do. So you laid in the bed.
So you go to this man's house. He doesn't force you physically to get in his bed. He doesn't actually tell you to get in his bed. He goes in the bathroom, takes off his clothes, gets into his bed in his bedroom. Why did you not just turn around, get into your white Altima and with the furry steering wheel and drive your little 19-year-old ass home? Why are you there having sexual relations with a man who is collecting, he's just getting Social Security at this point? He's over 55, right? You can get a discount at Long John Silver's if you guys went together. I believe it's 10% off. Why? So was that your long-term play? If the $5 million per nut doesn't work out, you can still get a discount on the unlimited shrimp baskets at the Long John. Like, what was the? I don't know what the over and under was with this whole situation. So all I'm taking it is a 304 that was literally preying on him and plotting from day one. Because but then again, I'm a man. I'm not gonna see what's attractive about a man who sounds like he's from whatever plantation, Django and them. Remember when the guy said, "You're not like the other niggas"? He's like that. That plantation is the one that it sounds like Shannon Sharpe was born and raised on until he got drafted. I don't know which, I don't know what about that was like, yeah, I want that. You know, I need that. I need that kind of, I need that. Okay, so it was a setup from the jump. That's what I would assume. Any woman I meet, I assume they're trying to set me up off the rip, and I just behave like it. You know, we'll talk, and I'll be like, look, if you want to hang out or whatever, I got you. I'll pay for your Uber. Let's go out to eat, send you home, whatever, whatever. Automatically, I'm not like, hey, come over here. We're gonna do this and this, and we're gonna go Dutch and all that. For what? They don't really want to go Dutch. They're just talking, but they don't want 5 million per nut for. I mean, that sounds a little extreme, you know. 5 mil a nut, 50 million. There's no way they had that. They didn't have no 50 million worth of sex in 2 years. It's impossible. And he has other women, and he's older, and he has to work out, and he's busy. There's no way. So
Nothing happened for about 10 minutes. Then he essayed you in the bed with the lights on. There was a second encounter where you went to his house again. Mind you, you said you were essayed the first time you went to his house. And then you went to his house again.
you know, after the first time, why didn't you go to the police station and do a grape kit so that there would be a record of what happened? And that way you could hold this man criminally liable for taking something from you and violating your bodily sanctity. Why didn't you go to the police? You know, chat, I want to know why wouldn't somebody go directly to law enforcement, run out of his house and go and get a kit and say, look, somebody did this to me. I know his name. You know, he sounds like Longhorn Feldhorn, whatever that chicken's name they used to talk on that show. Why not go to the police station and report this? Why would you instead go home, shower, go to sleep, and then go back to his house another day in the future? You know, like I said, bro, these laws have to change. These accusations have to stop being taken seriously. It's not credible. If it don't make sense, then it doesn't make sense. Just because she's a woman doesn't mean she's a victim. People lie. And when I say people lie, I don't mean just black people. I mean, for example, women in these situations lie because there's a financial incentive to lie. My ex-girlfriend, she battles with depression every day because her father had passed away. But one of her last memories of her father was that her mother convinced her to lie to the police with her, lie to the police saying that her father hit her mother, and then the police forced the father to move out of the home he bought. She conspired with her mother to get her father put out of the home he purchased in San Jose. She was so ashamed of it, it ate her up for so many years. And before she could finally get his forgiveness, he passed. When there's a financial incentive, these women will lie. There was no financial incentive for Shannon Sharpe. He can save money, but there's no incentive for him to make any money. The women started this whole situation because they wanted to make money, not save money. These men are the victims. They're being preyed upon. It's sick.
You said you showed up 5 minutes late, and as soon as you walk in the house, he started yelling at you. And he grabbed you by your neck and started taking it. Ooh, this is crazy. And then Shannon Sharpe said, baby, here y'all go. Here go the text messages. She freaked out. I'm freaked out. We freaked out. One thing that I had, though, was consent. Thank you all for coming.
Consent is all that matters. Unless she was screaming bloody murder, saying no, stop, pushing you. Which, man, ain't no nigga on God's green earth right now worth his weight in salt, willing to risk putting himself in a situation for something that he could just pay for. That's like saying, yeah, Shannon Sharpe worth 100 million right now, but maybe he did go in there and rob that McDonald's because there was somebody wearing a hoodie that looked just like him. And it's sure. Maybe he's just a thrill junkie. Maybe he's an adrenaline junkie. He just likes to knock over liquor stores for fun on the side, but he really got 100 million in the bank. But You know, and sure, maybe he could just, talk to beautiful women that have sex with him and he just pay him something. But no, he wants to just snatch it from unwilling women. Even though there's other women, because he's addicted to the adrenaline, he's addicted to the power. He wants to feel powerful. I guess other women that want to have that he could pay, they don't make him feel powerful enough. He only feels powerful if the woman hates him. But if she hates him so much, why did she go to his house? It never says he crawled through somebody's window wearing a Catwoman outfit, because Big Unc like to wear them tight ass sweats and with his cheeks out on a Thursday afternoon, hella ass. He likes to wear those types of outfits. So he's saying he put that on and slid through her vent, or did she volunteer to come to his house? What are we saying here? And why are you believing it? The thing is, people know, especially lawyers, is that the court of public opinion is divided up by racial groups. The only racial group that hates their own men are black people. Other people are going to say this doesn't make sense. They defend their people. Black Twitter will destroy, because one thing about black Twitter and black people in general, they really despise people with money, especially black people with money. They don't believe black people should have any money. They believe everybody should be equally poor. That's why when communist Kamala Harris was saying, you guys, we all can have equity, that means we all can be equally at the same level of being poor. In my home country, that's what communists do. Everybody's equal. We're all equally poor. Can't nobody make anything more than the next person. We all can only buy the same things. We're all equally poor. It's communism. So in that community, they love and embrace communism for the most part. They don't call themselves Americans. So when they see somebody who branches out above that poor area and has some money, well, you're public enemy number one. That's why they always support any black man with money being taken down. You never see black people really trying to defend anybody with money. It's really just them trying to take them down. So Shannon Sharpe's just next on the menu. Eventually it'll be 50 Cent again. It'll be any of these celebrities, black men, they're all on the way out. They're all going to have charges, because the charges don't have to make sense or even be real for them to be presented. Not at all whatsoever. It doesn't have to be real. Let me see here. It's and then this is Tasha K. Why is a 60-plus-year-old man race playing with a 20-year-old sex worker for fun? Because he can. They're both grown adults. He's enjoying his hard-earned money because he can. Matter of fact, he could have race played with a 19-year-old, an 18-year-old. It's his money. He can give it to whoever he wants, as long as she's of age and consenting. He can do whatever he wants with his money. All I know is men like Denzel and Samuel L. Jackson. Man, fuck Denzel and fuck Samuel L. Jackson. Nobody has to. Why would me, my own individual self, aspire to be like another man? No, I will be like myself. What? They don't set the examples for me, but this is another way of women who want to manipulate men to marry other women and let those women just live off of their resources. They don't want men to play the field and keep all their resources to themselves and only give these women chump change and some penis. They want you to be able to lose everything. You think Denzel, if he could have left his wife without giving her half his money, you don't think he would have by now? Of course he would have. Samuel L. Jackson, however, I think his wife knows that he does his thing or whatever, so he doesn't care to divorce her, and neither does she, because she knows even if she divorces him, she's not going to be happy. She can't get another man. She's too old. So, but I'll be honest with you. In the United States, if they start doing a thing where all marriages are 5 years only, and you have to renew it every 5 years or it's over, there's no child, there's no alimony, there's no support, there's no dividing up of property. You leave in with what you've earned and you keep what you, and if guess what, if you guys separate, he takes what's his, you take what's yours. That's it. There is no, you can just live off of that and get child. No. If you want the children to live with you, you have to go work and you have to pay child support to yourself. And the men have to go work and they're going to take care of the kids. He pays child support to himself because he's working. No more me giving the person who's bad with money some money to take care of kids that I can take care of myself. Why are these kids living with the mother in the first place? She's poor. And we all know these single mothers produce a bad product, but not single fathers. Again, these laws in this country will change eventually. Things cannot keep going downhill like this forever. Denzel Washington, Samuel L. Jackson are horrible examples, but convincing people they need to only get married out of fear of being set up by young women is fail. We should not have to live by fear, and I don't make decisions based on fear. If that's a horrible way to live. That's like living under the gun. If I don't want to break up my wife because she's gonna do this. Like that's who how do you live like that? That's horrible. But that's a woman trying to convince you what to do in favor of the womanhood. Don't do it. Don't do it. Tony Buzbee going after Shannon Sharpe after his former girlfriend accuses him of rape. But she didn't file a criminal report, only a civil one. 50 million, 1 billion. I ain't did it. Lakers in 5. This dude Buzbee again. That's what the comments are saying over here on TikTok. There have been so many great accusations in these wild lawsuits from Jay-Z to Diddy, and now this is one, and none of them are criminal. They're always civil. These victims never want justice. They just want a fucking bag. Absolutely. Matter of fact, who said that? That was Keeping Six Solid. Somebody in Canada that I follow. And you know what? Spot on. They're keeping it real. That's honest. These women want money. And when they can't get money, they're depressed. Yeah, think about it.
I went to Cartagena and I hated it.
Of course you hated it in Cartagena. Nobody's checking for you. Nobody.
I got 99 problems and Cartagena is one.
And that's the thing, if she could have accused the celebrity of something to get some money, because there's no husband that's going to marry her, and there's nobody's begging to have kids with her. So where is her money going to come from? She's going to have to work. But when you work and have to spend your own money, everything appears to be
This is what you need to know before you go. Let's start with my first grievance. This place is scam central.
See, whenever you're a woman and you have to pay for stuff on your own, that's what you call a scam. Because women think that all of their vagina is worth so much more than it is, and they deserve everything for free. So in her situation, her having to pay for her own plane ticket, pay for her own food and accommodations, it's a scam. It's not a scam. It's called an expense. It's a new word for you because typically men would desire your body, so they are willing to pay your expenses for you in order to get your favor and gain entry. However, your entry looks like one of a graffiti platform or somewhere undesirable in the hood that nobody wants to go. Therefore, nobody wants to pay for entry there. You can't even give it away. You can't even give tickets away. No one wants to go. So, yeah, these like I said, if you can't accuse a man of something, then these are women in trouble. They're in trouble. They're by themselves. There's no one coming along to save them. That's it. That's it. So, again, I'm not for exploiting men because they have money. You never know. One day you could wake up with a great idea, or you stumble into a situation, and next thing you know, and this is America, you're up millions in a month. And then all of a sudden, any girlfriend you ever had from the past has a story about when you used to beat her or when she got an abortion and you forced her to do it and all, and they're just blaming all their life problems on you. It's happened to me so many times where somebody wants to blame me for all the problems they had in their life that they had even before we met, which is ridiculous. But if you let them, they will do it. Don't let them. Record everything. This is going to happen, but remember, kids, these accusations is better that you can fight and win is a 10 million times better, in my opinion, than you fighting in a divorce that you're going to lose half your shit no matter how big or how good of an attorney you have. I'd rather fight this type of case than a divorce.
They do exist, so we require to produce those. And those could be significant. I mean, if you have videotapes of either non-consensual behavior or behavior that
regardless of how it appears, looks like there's surreptitious recordings of somebody. I mean, that's definitely something that would look really bad for any defendant.
No, I disagree.
We're in a relationship.
I disagree. Just because you have some serendipitous videos, that looks bad. No, what looks bad is if she's saying that you did some stuff to her and there's no proof that you didn't. That's what looked bad, not secret recordings that could exonerate you. Get the hell out of here. You're spreading the wrong message, dude.
He talks about at the beginning of the lawsuit that a woman could say yes 99 times. If she says no once, you continue on. That's sexual assault. That's rape.
That's absolutely true. However, the odds of that happening are slim to none. And you can't wake up the next day and say, I want to retract my consent from 2 days ago. What are you talking about? Like, be an adult, be realistic. If you're saying 99 times, but then the man says, no, you're going to keep, then that's different. But that's not these situations. And these women are still going back and calling these men and begging to see them. The reason, and then all of a sudden you become disgruntled once you lose your place or you get fired, or you do what Rico is known to do, and I just ghost you. Remember, I'm not going to fight with you. I'm going to disappear on you. I'm going to ghost you. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to put my hands on you and wrestle with you and try to calm you down and pacify you. No, you start making a scene, you start crying. I'm going to say, baby, let me get you some tissue. When I go to that bathroom, I'm looking for a window to crawl out of, and then I'm going to sneak away to my car. I'm going to push the button on my Tesla and have the car come find me somewhere, and then I'm going to leave you where you are. I'm not fighting with you. I'm not doing that. So there, it's ridiculous.
Do you believe that them being in a consensual relationship for a long period of time or a period of time, do you believe that, according to her claims, even after being asked to sign an NDA, she nonetheless engaged in a relationship with him? Do you think that hurts her credibility?
I don't think it hurts her credibility, but I think it's something that a defendant can use to their advantage to show the number of times that there was consensual sexual behavior as a suggestion.
And everybody who's watching this, keep in mind, he's a lawyer. He wants women to be in situations to sue these men so that way he can make money off of these cases. He's not telling you how to avoid these situations. He's giving you subtle bad advice on how to end up in one.
That maybe these instances are being manipulated for the purpose of financial gain. So it's not quite as bright line as if though there's never any sexual contact between the two of them. But maybe if this was 25 years ago, it'd be more of a problem. I think these days jurors have an understanding that people in intimate relationships can also be victims of sexual violence. So I wouldn't call it a big problem, but it's something that could be manipulated.
I'm just reading this January 2025 alleged sexual assault. It's pretty disgusting. I mean,
and that was the last time. Excuse me. That's the last time he saw her. Now they had just messed around, and she accused him of SA back in October. However, she didn't make any reports or actually tell anybody until this year when he stopped answering her phone calls. So basically, he was a hostage. As long as he's cooperating, as long as he's doing what she wants him to do, she's not going to say nothing. And then this is when the extortion part begins because, well, my time with you is over. I'm not calling you no more. You feel like you're owed something financially because you had sex with him. Well, I had sex with you and you have money, so you owe me some money too. No, I don't. Well, then I'm going to embarrass you like Tiger Woods. Go for it. This is the embarrassment part. Her filing a lawsuit against him, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? Still not going to pay you. But again, he was a scared old man 2 weeks ago and she wanted 10 million. Now, had she hit him with a 250,000, she might have got it. I don't know. He's black. He's old. I don't see old black people giving up money like that. If she would have said 75, 76,000, he would have gave it to her. Anything over about 80 grand, old black man about to be like, hell no. But they're like, well, no, he offered her 10 million. So she must really have something on him. Like what? Him pinning her down and just savagely, brutally beating her and shut the fuck up. Do you know how fast she would have been in the hospital? The dude is literally my size, except shredded. If I trained every day, bro, he's literally a man our size grabbing a small woman and attacking her. She's in the hospital. There is, or worse. Obviously, that's not what happened, but they want you to imagine that. They want you to think about what you're afraid of in your head. That's why they pick certain jurors who are scared of men that look a certain way, because they want her to think, what if that was me? He'd be punching me and fucking me and punching me and fucking. It's just, it's all about your fear, playing on your fear so that you can extract money. There needs to be something that I got to invent something where this can protect men from litigation, from these attempted lawsuits, so that when these lawsuits come out of nowhere, they're immediately shut down. They don't, and then even if somebody tries to file criminal charges, if there's no physical evidence or no proof that anything happened, your word alone is not enough. Your word alone is not, because people lie. But that's why I tell everybody, put cameras up in your house, record everything. If somebody's mad you recorded everything, oh well, let them sue you. But you're better off being sued for recording than being sued for sexual assault. Keep that in mind.
She basically says that she was begging for him to stop. He became more aggressive. He wouldn't wear protection.
That's his girlfriend. How long they been having sex without protection? Obviously, but now she wants to make it a big deal because this was the time he cut her off afterwards.
His sexual assault lasted roughly 10 minutes. I'm not going to get into the details of it. How does she prove that? Is it just her testimony? Is it that if she told anybody, let's say she didn't tell anybody, didn't tell authorities, is it just her testimony against his? I mean, will that be the key of it, her taking the stand and explaining this happened to her?
That's going to be the center of it for the both of them. They both have the ability to describe what did or didn't happen, and it's going to be believability. Like you said, if she did tell somebody, that's helpful. If she saw any sort of medical treatment, that's also helpful. But it's also possible that neither of those things happen and just becomes one person's word against another.
So she is suing for assault, sexual assault, battery, sexual battery, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. I imagine there's probably no statute of limitations issues since this is alleged to have occurred in 2023. Are these relatively broad causes of action, specific causes of action? Are they particularized in any way? Talk to me about what you believe about these causes of action that she's suing under.
I mean, that matches the facts of what she's alleged. I think they're relatively specific to the information that's in the complaint. So, that's the kind of collection of claims I would expect any attorney to bring, given those facts that have been laid out in the complaint.
And the defense would be that either this didn't happen or it was consensual, right?
Right. That's pretty much the two options. Well, most of the time these days, because of things like DNA or other ways to corroborate some sort of sexual activity, consent becomes the number one defense. So that's what we see most of the time.
Remember when I said this was a $50 million lawsuit? So I want to read you what she's suing for. General damages, the sum of excess of $10 million. Special damages in the sum of excess $10 million. Punitive damages, $20 million. Statutory penalties, $10 million. That feels like a lot of money. I mean, now that you also wonder, how do you put a price on if this really did happen? How do you put a price on sexual assault? But at the same time, $50 million for general, special, punitive, statutory penalties. Talk to us about what those mean and whether or not those would be appropriate in a situation like this.
Yeah, so the general damages are going to be her emotional distress damages. So what's the general impact to her now and kind of for the years to come as a result of going through this? If this happened, I want to underscore, we don't know if this happened, but if this happened, $10 million does not seem to me like an excessive amount of emotional distress damages. This is something that would stay with somebody for the rest of their life and be a significant struggle at various points in their life. The special damages are going to be economic losses. Those can be hard to establish. I mean, you have to use an economy.
Bro, we can't do this. We can't. We cannot let society start normalizing extortion against men just because we won't marry you, but we will have sex with you. This man did not brutally assault this woman. There's no evidence that he did. There's none. So without any evidence that he did, this should be an open and shut case. But remember, this is not criminal. This is civil. Someone can, they say, right? You can sue a ham sandwich. That's ridiculous. But there are lawyers that will take a ham sandwich and they will literally put a lawsuit against it, and you might get a summary judgment if the ham sandwich doesn't have legs and won't show up to court. It's ridiculous because the system, it works. But now that there are so many scammers who understand the laws, they find loopholes and they abuse the system, which makes it appear to not work. And if it doesn't work for men, then who does it work for? You can't have a one-sided system. It has to be balanced. These are women who don't want to work. These are women who, again, men work for what they want. Women manipulate men to get what they want. So men are their targets. Just because you become successful doesn't mean there should be no sympathy for you, and you should be allowed to be targeted just because you have money and you have some success. And you should not be penalized because you're not married and you like to have sex with multiple women. You should not be penalized with threatening potential lawsuits from every woman you have ever had sex with, making up lies so that they can get money from you. That should also not be allowed. And honestly, even NDAs are not a strong enough tool because she can just say that he forced me to sign it under duress. Now, if you have a camera crew with you 24/7, following you around like you're Ashton Hall, that's different. But everybody doesn't have that, and you should not have to fucking have that. You shouldn't have to have that in America just to live your normal life and do what you want to do and enjoy your success and enjoy your financial freedom. You shouldn't have to live like that just because you have done well for yourself. You shouldn't have to. This is just ridiculous listening to this whole case about nothing. There's nothing. Anybody can make up a story about the last time they saw you. And now there's tapes of him the last time he saw. None of the shit she's saying is true. But guess what about his name? I'll be honest, there's been so many fake sexual assault allegations over the last 2 years against black men that nobody believes anything anymore. Nobody believes it. A lawyer like him might pretend to believe it because they can make some money off of. Because think about it, there's going to be women who are having sex with men in the NFL and the NBA right now that are black. They're listening to this lawyer, and I bet you, because this is what we call a infomercial. This is free advertising for this lawyer's firm and for him. And these women are going to call and they're going to cry and they're going to have stories of this guy who forced her to get an abortion and made her do this and made her do that and this and that, but she consented and just did it all. But you weren't afraid for your life because you volunteered to go back over there every single day. Now, see, when you break that part down to a jury, the case is gone. But until you get in front of a jury, what you got 2 or 3 years of an extra bill every month from a lawyer, and you're going through hell thinking about this being held over your head. And don't let other women find out you're facing charges like this. You have sex with a woman consensually that likes you. She find out another girl's extorting you and shaking you down for money. You think she's not going to all of a sudden get some bright ideas too? You think she's not going to be thinking to herself, because these women they're dumb, but they're not that dumb. they can count 2 plus. They understand basic math. And if you got this much money and you're paying that girl, well, then you could pay her too. That's how they're going to rationalize extorting you and lying on you. Oh, I have kids I got to take care of. So I did what I had to do. You're their hustle. You're their business plan. You're their funding. Oh, I want to open up this. I want to open up that. No, they don't. They're going to take that money from you and squander it. They're not opening up a business. Businesses require work. These people don't want to work. They want to scam. That's why they're looking for men to target and scam. Poor guys like Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe he never saw himself making it this far. He doesn't even seem like he believed it. So he didn't know. He knew women were going to be treacherous when they're targeting the NFL, but he didn't know this level. He didn't see this level coming. But, he's here now, but this is a learning experience for all of us. Any of us. It can be you next, and it probably will be. If not you, your brother, your uncle, your dad. Somebody's going to make up a story about you eventually. Just do me one favor, sir. Don't break down. Don't commit suicide. Stay strong. They're lying on you. Yes, you to make videos because you let women trick you out of doing it. You let women tell you what not to do. And these women are thinking about themselves. Don't listen to them. Make videos. Keep records of everything. Be clear with your intentions. And if it's too much hoops for you to jump through, tell her to go to hell and go to bed by yourself. Or fly to TJ and go to Hong Kong. That's your best option. But trying to date these American women and get sex for free and date these pretty women and all, bro, it's fail. You're going to end up in a trick bag like Shannon Sharpe. And what if you can't afford to get out of it because you didn't make videos, you didn't keep records, she has all the leverage and you have nothing? Then what are you going to do? You're going to pay. Have to start your whole life over again. Everything you done built and acquired and made for yourself is gone. It's not that's not a way to live. It's not a way to live. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, share the video. Shannon Sharpe, I hope you make it out of this. You will actually make it out of this. There's nothing against you. This isn't civil. This is nothing legal. This is only civil. And the sponsors and the people behind him, they're starting to develop a callous around what they expect from black men. You know, if you're trying to do business with a black man, if you're trying to sponsor a black man, if you're trying to do anything with black men, understand they will be sued. They will eventually go to jail. They will have accusations against them. If you're looking for a squeaky clean guy, go find you somebody Asian or somebody white and work with them. Don't sponsor or put any money towards a black person because niggas is going to have a history. Because once people, it's like a shark smelling blood. Once they see a black man get some money or a black person get some money, the sharks come out. They want they cut. Kanye just made a song talking about giving his cousin a blowjob at 14. Why would he do that? Well, it's because one of his cousins made a threat to probably come out and tell the world about how they used to have sex when they were kids. And what did Kanye West do? Say, well, you're not going to hold that over my head. I'd rather live my truth. And instead of letting you tell it to TMZ, I'll tell TMZ, I'll tell the world myself. Eventually, you're going to be on the menu for somebody, depending on how big you get. You don't know. Your whole life could change in a week. You don't know. You got to get ahead of it. Get ahead of it if you can. Share the video, like, subscribe, the single boyfriend, the single hubby on X, but the single boyfriend everywhere else. I'm also broadcasting on the Safe and Effective podcast and on Right Wing Rico. Because I am, of course, right-leaning on everything. I don't have no conservative. I don't have any liberal views at all. I don't like any of that bullshit. So this because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't offer me anything as a man. So, but anyway, like, subscribe, share the video. I'll be back on. I have another episode I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go drink some water, take my dogs for a walk, and then I'll be back on. But Shannon, you're gonna be fine. These are not criminal. This is just civil. They're trying to embarrass you. But now sponsors understand what comes along with it. They've sponsored enough black men over the years to understand that it's never going to be squeaky clean. There's always going to be accusations. If you got a problem with that, then just don't even do business with black people. If you got a problem with people going to jail, being arrested, or getting killed, then you might as well not even do business with somebody black because you're almost 99% the chances that's going to happen at one point in time eventually. They're either going to get killed prematurely, they're either going to get arrested and go to jail, or they're going to get accused of something very heinous and be sued for it. There's no if, ands, or buts. Ain't nobody squeaky clean. You're going to have to settle with them out of court, and then there's going to be rumors. So, but now people are understanding, let me build a callus around me. I'm expecting that, so it's not going to be as damaging. I don't think maybe out of 10 sponsors, 2 are talking about pulling out. But he'll be fine. He'll be fine. The allegation, because that's all they want you to do. So they're going to always make up something about you. Just so they can help, they can hurt your pockets, and they're gonna say, "I'll do it again next time. Pay me this," and that's still gonna be cheaper than what you're gonna lose. People literally will come at you like that and negotiate your downfall with you, and it's extortion. It's again siphoning resources that they don't have for themselves. So expect that to come. Shannon Sharpe's just the latest example. There will be more. We're gonna come back with another episode about how women prefer to leave their husband so they can be another man's side chick which is what Cardi B just did. We're going to talk about that too and the logic around it. Again, this is the single boyfriend, right-wing Rico. Share the video. Look out for our sponsor as well. And I'll see you guys when we come back in about 30 minutes. Let me see here. Outro. And we're going to end the stream now. I'll be back shortly. Thank you.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.